That was a lot warmer when I made it. Got sidetracked, great. Hello, welcome back to Skyrocket Automotive and welcome back to Saturday Club. And a very special welcome to all the new subscribers that signed up to watch me save that Ambassador out there. It's happening. First things first, I am going to try and save that Ambassador. Clickbait. I'm gonna get this out of the way right now and then we're gonna crack on with the video. I saw a few comments on there, none of which hurt my feelings, by the way. I'm an old fart as far as the internet, so I remember the days of the internet hate machine. But it's worth addressing because I see why people would worry about that. There are people out there that would buy a car like that for the thumbnail, do a quick video on it, hike up their profile on YouTube and kick the car to the curb and you never see or hear from it again. I'm telling you, that's not what's happening here. I want that Ambassador. I think I've just explained that one. So I'm just gonna run through a very quick breakdown of general avenues that comments took. I'll respond to them in kind. This is not me being on my soapbox. Like I say, none of them hurt my feelings. I'm not here to whinge. Quite the opposite. I'm here to respond because there was a lot of good feedback in there. And I love the dialogue. It's why I do YouTube. YouTube is a hobby. It's fun for me. It sure as shit doesn't make me any money, but it's something fun for me to do with my evenings. I like editing videos and I like the feedback I get from people. Even if it's negative, I like chatting. So the first things first, strip it for parts and buy a nice one. There aren't any. There are a little over 100 Ambassadors left, most of which are in mint condition with loving homes. There are a few nicer ones that aren't on the market right now, or were on the market around the same time as I found Albert. Yes, I've given the car a name, which means that it now stays. What can I say? I shit the bed and bought a bad one. We're fixing it. I was actually, to show you how committed I am to that, a very nice fella contacted me yesterday on Facebook Messenger to offer me a much better shell. But I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna get here, it needs an engine and box. And I'm not going to take the engine and box out of that. I'm going to go looking for an engine and box to fix that one too, because I know what I'm like. I can't stand to kill a car. I can't do it. So just in case anybody's wondering, we're committed. That ain't getting reshelled. We're going to fix that shell. So that's that one done. Oh yes. Didn't bother me, didn't annoy me. Why bother? They were shit when they were new. Come on, stand up. Yeah. There were 56 people that made that same comment almost word for word. Do you guys not read the other comments? Anyway, lots of fond memories, some less fond memories. That's the code of the road with stuff from that era. You can't get parts anymore is another train of thought. Very good point, and that's something I would encourage anybody who's considering getting a classic project to look around at and see what parts availability is like. I would also encourage you guys to go back on my channel and have a look at, I love and prefer to rebuild the original part if at all possible. So starter motors, alternators, distributors, carbs, fuel gauges, switch gear. I always try and rebuild what's there, right? So something that car has got going for it, one of the two things it's got going for it, the other one being is that it's now so hard to move I can't scrap it even if I wanted to, is that it's complete. The body shell's not, but all the parts that were bolted to that car from the factory are still there. So everything can be rebuilt for the most part, unless it's a completely sealed unit like a K-Jet fuel pump, for example. So I'm gonna be rebuilding everything on there. The alternator that's seized up, we'll free it off and we'll get it working again. That leads me to the next point. It's not worth it. I know it's not worth it. I know that the car will not be worth, I say it won't be worth what I put into it. I'm not planning on putting much into it at all, money-wise. Only sheet metal and paint and welding wire. It's not about the money. And I don't mean that in a rich guy, it's not about the money. I ain't got it. I haven't got the money to put into it. For me, it's about fixing a car that nobody would bat an eye at. That also ties in to the lack of parts availability, because when you rebuild a part, say it's a starter motor that's down and the solenoid's sticky or dirty, you could potentially fix it for nothing. Or the brush pack's failed in the starter motor. They use that same brush pack on most starters of that era or that series of starters or whatever, but a brush pack's like 15 quid versus 2, 3, 4, 500 pounds for a starter if you can get one. So we rebuild the starter motor. That's the way this is going to go. And I think I think that's why I bothered making that first video in the first place, was because if I thought that was just going to be a case of me just welding up an old BL car, I wouldn't have wasted your time. It's going to be a journey, man. It's going to be a massive journey. We're going to learn, I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to find out the shear strength of my elbow trying to undo most of the bolts in the engine bay. We're going to look at all the wiring. We'll rebuild anything on that car that doesn't work. Door locks, door handles, the radio, the engine. We're standing now at the start of a very long and I hope exciting road, and a fun one. So yeah, it's not about the money to me, and the lack of parts availability doesn't really scare me all that much, because the stuff that isn't available is all still there and might work. And if it doesn't work, we can figure it out, can't we? You'll be there for the ride. It will never pass an MOT. I know exactly what that comment's meant to imply, and it will pass an MOT because it doesn't leave that forecourt or this workshop without an MOT. I have a very, very trustworthy and thorough MOT inspector around the back of my building. I do a lot of business with him. Every car that comes to me, if it's been off the road, goes for an MOT. There's no discussion about it. If a customer wants me to put their car back on the road before it leaves here, it goes for one MOT. And it's up to them after that if they want to take advantage of the MOT exemption. I'm not having my work out there without somebody double checking it. And that's not because I don't trust my work, it's that I'm not so arrogant as to think that I'd never make a mistake. You need a second set of eyes on the car. That car will not leave here until it has an MOT. We might potter it round site. Site is not very big, on a private estate. It's not the highway with a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit. And on a weekend, there's no one here. So the first drive will be on private land. We're good. I want to thank the people who took the time to say that they liked the video. I know that sounds weird. I don't have a lot of confidence. Again, I do this as a hobby, and it's still a strange feeling to me to hear people say that they like my presenting style or that the editing's good, because I don't see it. I do it because it's fun. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, it meant a lot. They were very kind. Thank you very much. The ambassador, the plan. The next video, and it's really annoying that it's as sunny out there as it is, because we've had torrential rain all week, which is why I haven't been able to do a video on the car. First port of call, as the vehicle sits out there, we are going to be drilling out all the spot welds on the front wings and getting the front wings off, because I want to look at the front core structure. You guys very rightly pointed out that the car looks like it's nose heavy, and there was absolutely a degree of flex. Now, yes, there's rot, I know. What I want to ascertain is how bad, where, how fixable. Everything can be fixed. It's just a case of making a plan. The wings are going to come off, and then I see the order of the project going like this. First of all, we got to hoover that interior out. It's horrific. It's still, under that cover, outside, I can still smell rat piss. It stinks. So I want that dealt with. And we need to get the carpets up so we can get a proper look at the floors. And at that point then, I think the process is going to go, we'll get the car in obviously, doors off, tailgate off, and then I'm going to buy some box section. The first thing we're going to do before I buy the box section, we need to repair some structure. He's very frilly. So you've got the inner sill to floor return. Those are solid. If you look through the holes on the previous video, a lot of it's still got the factory coating on. There's very little to do on them. So we've got a good straight piece running front to back on the car. The B-pillars look pretty good. So now we've got that structure. That ties into the roof, and the roof structure is good. The C-pillars seem very good, and they're massive great things on the Ambassador anyway. So I think if you were to imagine the B-pillar, roof structure, C-pillar, over the wheel arch, to the sill and forward, I think we're pretty good. My concern, the A-pillar and the front roof structure. So what we need to do is get the wings off, shore up the A-pillars, and then when we've done that, I will weld box section braces from the A-pillar to the B-pillar and the B-pillar to the C-pillar, both sides. And then I'm probably going to put a support across the car, probably from B-pillar to B-pillar and A-pillar to A-pillar. And what that does It's like putting a roll cage in, basically. We're stopping the car from, when you cut out the sills on a car, it wants to do that. So what we're doing is welding that together, so even we could cut everything out, floors the lot, and the car's not gonna sag or twist or move, ideally. It doesn't have to be stupidly rigid. In fact, we want a bit of give there because the car is clearly bent to some degree through sheer rust. So we wanna be able to rejig things. We're gonna be doing a lot of measuring. I'll probably do a lot of it off camera because it's gonna bore you guys. So that's what's gonna happen. Now, I am not going to be bodging patches over holes in the sills. Anything that's rotten is getting removed and replaced. We're going back to good metal, which there's a lot more of than you snarky shits in the comments seem to think there is. It's not that bad, it's pretty bad. Basically, with Albert, we're gonna be peeling the whole skin off the car. And I think that could be quite an interesting thing for you guys to see. We'll start with the front wings. They're welded on, which is a pisser. If they were bolted on, it would have been much easier. I probably would have done it in that first video. Drill out all the spot welds, get the wings off. Then we're gonna do the same to the roof skin and the C-pillars. But before we do any of that, we need to brace it because we take too much off, he's gonna fall apart. What have I done? You'll be able to probably see the monocoque structure of the vehicle under there. So monocoque vehicles, while they might not have a body and frame construction, they still have a frame. Obviously the outer sill, A pillar, roof, B pillars, they are structural, but there is a core to most monocoques. And you can see it. We're gonna be basically doing that. Long story cut short, once we're at that stage, with the panels off the car, they're gonna be much, much easier to repair because we can manipulate them, rotate them, lay them down flat, whatever we need to do. And we'll piece the car back together, but properly. This isn't about making it pretty for a YouTube video. I plan on driving this, and if I'm driving it, I'm taking my family in it. I've got no interest in bodging it together. Really, really no interest in bodging it together. All right, so that's a roadmap for the Ambassador, Albert, as I've very responsibly decided to name him. I really, really hope you guys will stick around. Now, I did say at the tail end of that video, I've got a lot on at work at the moment and it might be a few weeks before you see anything. This is exactly why I'm making this video now. I hope you understand that I genuinely am not yanking you around here. I can't wait to get started. Nothing excites me more than a new project, especially one so full of possibilities and pitfalls. I really, really hope you'll join me for this journey. I think it's gonna be really good fun. And things like this are a lot more fun with friends. So it'd be very cool to have you along for the ride. Okay, that's the end of coffee. Fresh out. I better go and get these poly bushes stabbed into this dolly sprint then, shouldn't I? Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.